the day. Two powerhouses of a team. It's Spacestation Gaming versus Golden Guardians.
Let's see if they can take it here. Thugonomics coming in on that Retribution Paladin. Peekaboo coming in on the Windwalker Monk here, so he's definitely going to have to step up. He's facing Chun-Li. I feel like is this the first time we really see Peekaboo actually venturing off the rogue in a tournament setting? This is going to be very stressful for him, facing down two Paladins that can just bop off his karma. They're going after Thugonomics with double crowd control setup. Beautiful start here by the Golden Guardians. Thugonomics, though, breaks it up with that Sanctuary, trading the Shield of Vengeance. Definitely looking comfortable early on, but perhaps as I say that, maybe not. Peekaboo unloads a ton of damage with that Zwen. Chun-Li is ramping up his Zwen as well over onto WizK. We saw WizK get one tapped earlier today by that Zwen, so he's got to get ready. Thugonomics is still under pressure. WizK, are you ready? Big damage incoming, trades the dispersion, and will survive the Zwen. Fair trades for both sides.
Yeah, no question about it. Definitely want to respect the damage. Chun-Li and Thugonomics also getting bursted down. Peekaboo just doing a great job on that Windwalker Monk so far, but still Absurge, Gorecki both having to play catch-up. Thugonomics taking a huge Rising Sun kick, but Peekaboo may have overstayed his welcome. Double Blinding Light going in, and they're actually going after Peekaboo. Can they take him down? He gets gripped to safety. That was the Divine Shield and the Sacrifice to keep Peekaboo alive. Massive damage from both these teams. You get the feeling this game is not going to dampening.
Yeah, this game is basically over at this point. WizK has nothing, Absurd has nothing. Peekaboo has a trinket and a karma, but that's about it. Chun-Li now in a leg sweep. Thug as well there. Let's see, do they have the damage to back it up? Peekaboo rolls out, gets the paralyzed, goes back in here, but one big fat heal there with that Retribution Paladin's Word of Glory. He's going to be making sure that Thug and Chun are both A-OK. WizK immediately getting Blessing of Protection there. Now Absturge caught up in the Hammer of Justice. Peekaboo kiting for his life here, teleporting back. Thug now bopping the karma, and here we go. That could just be KO here for Peekaboo. He rolls around. He tries to duck for cover. Fist of Fury trying to parry with it, and he's going to be able to stabilize, but they have literally nothing, and the game basically just started here.
All right, let's see if they can keep it up here. Thugonomics is still looking pretty sturdy with that Divine Shield, Shield of Vengeance, leading the charge. They're crushing WizK, half his health gone in a moment. Double leg sweep. Dispersion comes up in 1 second. Zwen's available momentarily for Chun-Li as well. That's going to be the scary time for the Golden Guardians. And Chun-Li activates it right away, wanting to push this game straight to the limit. Is WizK ready? He fades the incoming burst damage, but that damage could be endless. Peekaboo rolling away, trying to dodge the leg sweep, potentially now moving in for a leg sweep of his own. Double onto both Thugonomics and Chun-Li. Tons of damage here. Fist of Fury flying. Peekaboo pulls the trigger on his Zwen, the Tiger. Thugonomics could be in trouble, but no, it's Peekaboo who's in trouble. Everybody locked down in crowd control. Oh no! Peekaboo gets cut down, and Space Station Gaming take game one.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that was just
crazy game there. Just domination from start to finish.
Domination from start to finish. Yeah, absolutely beautiful to see. I mean, you have to give it up, though, to the move. Golden Guardians, trying to bring in a different composition, but these cleave setups from Space Station Gaming, they just play it at such a high level. It's really nice to see that flexibility coming in from Thugonomics. Picking up that rep Paladin has been super important for them.
Indeed, it has. Space Station Gaming taking that game number 1 victory under 3 minutes here. Didn't even go to dampening. What a contrast from that last series as well. We'll see what the rest of the pacing of this series looks like, but let's check out a replay from that first game.
All right, let's do it. I mean, take a look right now. I mean, you can basically just look at the cooldowns. Absurge, he has Relentless. Peekaboo, he's got no Trinket. So there's basically no more outs. Right now, Golden Guardians trying to set something up. They're getting a little pressure here on Thugonomics, but it's just a matter of time before they get that full stun lock combo. Hammer of Justice on Peekaboo. The double Blinding Light coming in from Gorecki. 3 versus 1 situation. And there's absolutely nothing Peekaboo could have done besides preemptively run. It was just such a good setup from Space Station Gaming, but 2 minutes and 30 seconds is all that one took. And definitely a really explosive match.
Yeah, it certainly was. And game number 2 here coming up quick as these players go through the roster, the draft process. They're going to pick their map and then their compositions here. But I mean, they're a little bit of an experiment there on the side of Golden Guardians, Super Tees. Do we think that we're going to see them go back to sort of their bread and butter compositions?
I don't know if I'd want to be a sub-rogue into this. It's just a double Paladin. It seems pretty hard. I mean, I think we saw Peekaboo. Well, we wouldn't have saw it was the open bracket, but he was streaming, I think. So he played Assassination Rogue a little bit, tried experimenting with it. I'm wondering if they could try Windwalker Warrior, get Jellybeans in, and Peekaboo. Maybe that's too many alts. They don't want to risk that. It'd be triple alt, Absurge Paladin, Jellybeans Warrior, Peekaboo Monk. But that didn't look good for them. I feel like there was still a solid chunk of cooldowns they needed to get through, and they were completely tapped. They're going to start losing on mana. I feel like the Shadow Priest, particularly without a mage to support them, is not going to have a great time into a Windwalker team, and neither will Peekaboo. They can just swap between the two of them. Everyone is pretty fragile. There's no polymorphs to slow down the game, so I don't know. They're in a tough spot. Maybe WizK tries Mage. I feel like WizK has multi-classed a lot in the past. That could be an option too. We saw Spacestation Gaming sent down to the lower bracket with Windwalker Death Knight. WizK has played a Death Knight in the past. I don't know how much they've polished that up or if they were really prepared to have Windwalker DK be a comp. But if they run Shadow Priest Windwalker this whole series, I don't think it's going to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking a little bit tough for Golden Guardians so far. Spacestation Gaming, a super tough competitor. Both of these teams have been playing together as a roster for quite some time. The synergy on both of these teams so high. Looks like they're going to be locking in Tolvaron Arena. Spacestation Gaming not going to be choosing their composition. When you look at teams such as this, Zico, where they have that time played together and that synergy built up versus sort of those newly formed roster, I mean, what's the skill difference there? How easy is that to see in their gameplay?
Well, I think when you look at like Peekaboo playing as Windwalker and you look at Chun playing as Windwalker, you're obviously going to see like a massive difference there.
Right.
But it's all about what situation you put those alts in as well. If you put an alt in a matchup like that where you're going to be going up against, probably the best Windwalker that NA has, yeah, of course you're going to look a little outclassed there. But if you put him in a matchup where the Windwalker is advantageous, he doesn't, necessarily need to run a lot. He can just kind of tunnel down, and healer or something. All of a sudden, it looks a lot more doable. So definitely going to be a big skill disparity when you have, someone who's as good as Peek on his rogue on, a Windwalker versus having, a bit of a counter matchup maybe. So I feel like Golden Guardians, they're just guessing at this point, trying to bring out the Shadow Priest Windwalker. Didn't work for them. And now I wouldn't be surprised if we see a different matchup. And if that fails, maybe they go to their Rogue Shadow Priest, or maybe they just go to their Rogue Shadow Priest right away. Because, I think it's still better to pick a bad matchup where you're at least on your mains than to have that first game right there.
Yeah, and props to Peekaboo as well for queuing Windwalker into Chun-Li, one of the best Windwalkers there is out there, and he's been in that position for quite some time. But we can also remember that Thugonomics is also on a ret, not something that we often see him play on. We do see him bounce around, kind of experiment on other classes every once in a while. If you guys remember last year, was it last year that he played Thugbear, or was that 2 years ago?
Stop.
Wow.
Oh.
Where he was okay. All right, I'll let you guys talk about this Golden Guardians new composition.
I'm surprised to see this one. I really am. Golden Guardians are going to be playing Sub-Rogue Fire Mage, WizK Fire Mage, and Absurge on the Paladin. So, it could work. But Spacestation Gaming with the Paladin and with the Holy Paladin, the Ret Paladin, and the Windwalker Monk, they are going to have a lot of answers for the various setups Golden Guardians are going to be able to bring. But I really like the fact that they are willing to take risks, and I could see them winning. I mean, the amount of control this composition has, the amount of burst a Fire Mage can bring to the table, you can shred through a lot of the defenses that Spacestation Gaming has available, pull out bubbles all over the place, and we'll see if they can do it. I mean, I don't know how much they practice this composition, the three of them, but, WizK has been proficient on Fire Mage in the past. I know he's been playing it a fair bit so far in Shadowlands, and I'm curious to see how this one does play out.
What were you doing there with your fingers, Sydney?
I was just pointing at the classes, like I was just having.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought you were saying like down or something. I
thought you were doing like the button meme,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait, the button meme?
No, he's just having fun with the UI.
I'm literally just having fun with the graphic.
Well, I mean, if this ends up being successful for Golden Guardians, that could be a really good thing. You know, we've seen over time this team here try and switch it up with new compositions, but it doesn't seem to really always click like their main composition does. So, really looking forward to see WizK perform here on his Fire Mage game. I can't reading that. Graphics messing with us here as Teams tries to play around with the UI. But yeah, looking forward to seeing this here. WizK, you know, super known for his Shadow Priest, but how difficult is it to switch over to that Fire Mage? How different is that playstyle? I'll open this to Ven or Zico. One of you mages can answer it for me.
I feel like Fire Mage, it's one of those classes, like it's really easy to do well with it, but it's really hard to like getting up to like 95% is kind of easy, but getting the last
like skill,
the skill wise,
right.
getting like the first 95% is like pretty easy. Your rotation not that complicated. You can set up with Dragon's Breath. It's pretty easy to just get those pyros out and to kite and stuff. And especially now, you don't really need to worry about surviving that much with the Triune Barrier. But that last 5%, timing your Fire Blast to eat reflects and grounding totems and, getting the perfect angles on your shimmers and stuff like that. And that's the hard part about it. So I feel like if you play at 95% capacity, you can still do very well with it. And maybe that's all it takes here to take down the rat.
Well, there's no reflects and there are no groundings. So if there's a game to be a mage, I feel like this would be it for WizK. And look at that setup. Beautiful right off the bat. They could get Divine Shield. They're cutting through everything here. Thugonomics so dangerously low, trying to turn it around. Managing to stay alive without using Divine Shield. Battlemaster more than enough. Peekaboo now potentially in trouble. He's on the run, trying to retreat, using that Night Fae Vulpin blink to actually get a lot of distance. WizK gets swapped to he alter times. He's soaking up all the damage here. He's going to bounce back to full in a moment, and all of those will sit as well. There's no purge, so I think having a mage in this matchup is definitely important. I think Golden Guardians are exploiting a very powerful strategy against the double paladin, bringing a mage in here. Bop aggressively. Golden Guardians are getting cheeky, going after Thugonomics.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Thugonomics getting really low here. The smoke bomb does drop down, but Thugonomics getting some heals on himself. Gorecki gets some topping off on him as well. So things are looking okay here for Spacestation Gaming, where they have managed to stabilize, but WizK is going to be able to reset that combustion. Right now, Thugonomics and Chun-Li are actually just going to pressure WizK, then basically test him on that mage, see what they can do, but I think he's going to be feeling relatively safe with Dragon's Breath, with the off peels. Big Radiant Spark once again. Here it is. Thugonomics going to be taking a huge hit of damage and forced to use that Divine Shield. I really like the fact that WizK is playing Radiant Spark. That extra damage during these goes is definitely adding up here. Playing that Kyrian seems really, really strong in this matchup, and they might just take him down.
Beautiful setup so far. They forced out pretty much everything except Gorecki's bubble. Sheeps are coming out from Peekaboo, and Gorecki is going to be able to get out of that one for free here with that Sanctuary. Now full kid here onto Thug. Gorecki just repositioning here to get aggressive. Now Peekaboo in a lot of trouble here. Could get blown up, but Absturge, quick fingers right there, getting that sacrifice with his human racial in the nick of time. He's going to take a lot of redirected damage, but now WizK, if he gets one more poly, that's going to be the bubble here from Gorecki, and Chan already in a polymorph here, and he's going to sheep the Dispa right there. Now Peekaboo looking for the setup, blessing of protection coming out there from Thug, and going to be bopping his own stomp, and right there he's going to be able to escape that setup there. And if they just keep doing this every time with that rogue mage, they are eventually going to find themselves in that situation where they can just win the game. Go get a setup, get the blessing of protection, do it again, get a trinket, run, keep running like that. The only thing that Space Station Gaming can really do is get a paralyze onto Absturge or a Hammer of Justice, stun Peekaboo at the same time, and just try to erase him 100-0.
Definitely double stun against a rogue, going to be a good strategy, but Peekaboo is setting up WizK here. Ring of Frost, blind on Gorecki into a polymorph. Beautiful execution here by the Golden Guardians. Gorecki has to respond, trading the Glider's Medallion and the sacrifice to save Thugonomics, and now that's the double stun. Will he survive? Looks like he's going to be fine here. That was combustion by WizK. Gorecki wraps around the corner. Peekaboo, though, at the pillar with him as well. Double Dragon's Breath onto the DPS here. WizK blinking with polymorph. Maybe they do want to commit to Gorecki here a little bit more so than normal, but with double hybrid, I don't think he's going to be in too much trouble. Perfect crowd control here once again by the Golden Guardians, looking polished in game number 2, but Thugonomics on that ret, breaking up the crowd control. If he gets a Word of Glory here, he's likely going to full health. Big heal, back to full. Now we see the Golden Guardians have to reset, wait for those diminishing returns before they make another push. But really, what is there to stand between their victory? Not very much. Chun-Li, though, drops a double leg sweep. So when the Tiger is out, Peekaboo is getting munched right now. Down to half. Hammer of Justice on the Vulpin Blink. Thugonomics hammering down onto Peekaboo. Barely staying alive. Vulpin Blink again. Absurge picks him up in a hurry. It cost a ton of mana to do it. Peekaboo still just running away, trying to maybe go for a re-stealth. They want to get aggressive, though. They know Thugonomics has nothing. They need to push forward, but Chun-Li catches Peekaboo in a disable route, not able to reconnect. Peekaboo sets up the stun. They're going after Gorecki, really mixing things up here. Everybody in a stun. Peekaboo leading the charge for his team. They need to net Divine Shield. They do manage to get it. Golden Guardians setup after setup, pulling cooldowns, but at any moment, Peekaboo could be erased. It's a tense moment here, 4.5 minutes in.
Golden Guardians are looking great with this composition. WizK still has this combustion. There's a huge opportunity for them to win the game. If they get crowd control on Thugonomics, I would just go after Gorecki, Radiant Spark. They can get a big setup here. As long as there's cross crowd control on Thugonomics, he's not going to be able to help him out whatsoever. There's no Divine Shield, there's no Relentless, but they need to get that going relatively soon. I mean, Divine Shield comes up in just a few seconds for Thugonomics, a few seconds on Trinket for Gorecki, and they may have missed their mark, but these consistent setups from the Golden Guardians definitely paying dividends. Peekaboo going for a re-stealth right now. WizK kind of just tanking all this damage, and he can. I mean, they have no Purge for Triune Barrier. They have no Purge for Alter Time, and as a Fire Mage, that's exactly what you want. There's no ranged interrupts as well. WizK going for the double Ring of Frost. Big damage here on Gorecki. There's no way. Can he live this? Big combustion. Gorecki gets caught into the stun. Do they have the damage to take him down? Is he using the legendary as well? He is. Both Thugonomics and Gorecki are using the Protection Paladin legendary to survive these all-in one-shots, and it has been so key for them to be living.
Gorecki's not. Is he?
Absolutely.
Really? No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
Really crazy setup there, though, onto Peekaboo, actually. He had to use his Trinket and his Evasion there as well. Absturge running out of mana, doesn't have anything, and now we got full blind attempt here onto Gorecki. Peekaboo gets disarmed, not going to be able to follow it up with the sap there. They wanted to set up maybe out of that one. Gorecki has nothing aside from that Blessing of Protection to remove stuns, but if they can go after Thug and get a sheep on Gorecki, then all of a sudden they can immediately win the game. But look at that Sank from Thug, realizing that that's exactly what they're going to be doing. He manages to save himself, and now Peekaboo is the one in big trouble here. If Chunk can get a paralyzed onto Absturge, Peekaboo is dead, and Peekaboo realizes that, gonna be dueling Thug, and immediately just running for that restuff with that Shadowy Duel. Peekaboo very, very excellent on that rogue so far, been leading his team, been calling the setups, been setting up the kills, and right now he's in stuff, looking for a sap here onto Gorecki. Gorecki realizing it, putting himself in combat, but he doesn't want to get too far ahead because he can't get polymorphed, he can't get set up on Thug now. Hammer of Justice onto WizK, takes a lot of damage. Peekaboo now as well in a leg sweep, or in a Hammer of Justice himself. Big damage coming out from Chun, but nice Dragon's Breath there by WizK. He's gonna save Peekaboo in that scary situation. Now the Rogue Mage have an opportunity to get aggressive, but here we go. They get a kidney shot onto Thug. They get a nice cheap shot there on the healer. Peekaboo taking a fat chunk of damage, and that's going to be the sacrifice from Absturge. And despite how clean some of these setups have looked so far for Golden Guardians, if a couple of them don't get stopped, all of the cooldowns rotate right back, and now all of a sudden, it's Golden Guardians on the back foot.
Yeah, they need to try and get something going here. No Divine Shield for 30, but Gladiator's Medallion available. Smoke Bomb is up. I'd love to see a setup on Thugonomics with a Smoke Bomb here. They stun Thug, they stun Chun. WizK blinks in, Ring of Frost around the corner, triple crowd control, Radiant Spark. Big hit potentially onto Thugonomics, but no combustion. Paralyzed on WizK, shuts down his damage. Thugonomics will heal himself back up quite easily with Avenging Wrath and Word of Glory. I don't think Thugonomics is going to die unless he's in a stun here. Peekaboo gets kept in combat by Chun-Li's Crackling Jade. They need to keeping their eyes on Peekaboo. They don't want him re-stealthing, but I think it's inevitable. Peekaboo's so far away. Nice map selection from the Golden Guardians, but despite their best efforts, cooldowns are rotating up and are available, and dampening's getting higher, so all that mage healing and self-sustainability is going to get weaker and weaker. He's going to become a liability. Thugonomics is a bit hesitant, though, realizing Smoke Bomb is still up. He could Blessing of Protection himself and escape it. Gorecki, where's Peekaboo going to go? He stuns up. Thugonomics drops the smoke bomb. Thugonomics instantly bops it. Is it going to be enough? He procs his Avenging Wrath. He needs to clutch out some Word of Glory. He doesn't even need to. Gorecki's going to save him. Peekaboo now potentially in trouble. Gorecki is charging in at Absturge, looking for a Hammer of Justice. They double stun here. It could be lights out if they're not careful. Not able to get to target. Absturge repositions along with WizK. Gorecki's still chasing him. Hammer's down. Who's the target? Doesn't look like they're able to find too much. They're going after WizK, trying to get the Cauterize, down at 30% health at this point. Can they get it? WizK blinks in for a Poly, lands the Poly on Gorecki. Thugonomics now in trouble. 5 seconds away! 4 seconds away! How on earth is he still alive here? He is playing a Protection Paladin Legendary on the Ret, though. That just saved his life. That was easily his life before the Divine Shield. Now he has that if he needs to trade it. Big Word of Glory, denying it. It was very close. Now Zwen is available for Chun-Li. Where is he going to commit that cooldown? He's probably waiting for the Frost Nova. Wants to bait that before committing, but here's Radiant Spark. Thugonomics gets bopped out by Gorecki. They dispel it off. Nice dispel by WizK. Thugonomics still the target, but not in crowd control, so Word of Glory, Shield of Vengeance, I think is going to be enough. Another Word of Glory. Into another Word of Glory with Avenging Wrath, full health. Peekaboo fainting at 50%. WizK the target. He alter times, so he's going to be going back to full health, baiting some mobility here, but he will alter into an awkward position if he decides to do so. He alters back, but he's very far away. He might regret this alter time. He gets absolutely destroyed. Absturge maybe not prepared for that with WizK. Ice block out of the way. Spacestation Gaming looking strong.
Yeah, and WizK is just going to sit that ice block, making sure he doesn't come out too early before he gets healed so they don't get the Cauterize as well. And at the very least, WizK was able to trade his ice block for a little bit of a drink there for Absturge, so getting a little bit of mana back as, you know, the Ret and the Windwalker Monk, they're going to be able to get a lot more consistent damage off in this matchup. So in terms of mana, Space Station Gaming will have that lead. Peekaboo now a little bit on the run, but he's baiting Thugonomics in the open. They get a stun lock combo on Thugonomics. He could be in a little bit of trouble. There is the Divine Shield available, but definitely at this point of the game, you do not want to throw it away. Radiant Spark comes in, but it gets denied. Nicely down there. Thugonomics forced to use the Divine Shield. A Polymorph on a Gorecki. Thugonomics, can he get some heals on himself? WizK still dipping dangerously low. Finally gets a big heal there by Absturge. That was a sacrifice as well. And both these teams are running out of time. WizK just rips out the combustion, just trying to push through sheer damage here. Swap over onto Absturge. Can they take him down? Double blinding light. WizK still on the run. Absturge trying to top him off. He uses the Divine Shield. Cauterize procs. He needs a little bit more healing, but he's almost completely tapped on mana. The pressure from Chun-Li and Thugonomics is just too immense at this point in the game. I don't know if they have enough time to get their consistent setups. Alter time does come in. WizK, I think he actually canceled the alter time, but he might just get dropped as a result. He's so low. Blessing of Protection goes out. WizK barely holds on at 5% health in the matchup. And keep in mind, he's got no seed. Thugonomics getting low. They might just take him down. Can they once again? The Legendary keeps him alive right now. Golden Guardians, they cannot believe it. Thugonomics cheats death once again, pushing forward, trying to take down WizK, and this is still anyone's game.
Absturge completely sitting there for a drink in the middle of the map. WizK goes for the poly. He gets it. This has got to be the game here. WizK with big fat damage. No pro legendary. He's going to go down. And the golden Peekaboo gets dropped. And now it's a 2v2. WizK on the mage versus Chun-Li and Gorecki. And Absturge has 0 mana. We're at 40% dampening. How is he going to survive this? This is where the 5% on that mage is going to come in. He needs to peel Chun-Li. He needs to survive. He needs to set up a drink. He needs to stop the reses, and he needs to do it fast because he has no CDs.
He needs to do that with 0 mana and 0 cooldowns. I mean, that's pretty tough, tall order here. Absturge is trying to drink. Gorecki's poking after him. WizK's just polying Chun-Li, but the polys are over. Absturge does manage to heal him to full at least. Gorecki, he's mounted up. Is he going to go for a res? Gorecki's sneaking off into the distance. Obviously, when a player is dead, you can use Resurrect to bring them back to life. It's a good tactic, and that's what Gorecki is using. That Ring of Peace knocks WizK away. Absturge is moving in. I think he's going to get there in time, and he does manage to hit the Resurrect. Absturge actually grapple weaponed by Chun-Li, just trying to reduce some damage. Maybe thought he could take Judgment away there and stop him from stopping the res, but Gorecki's just going to constantly go for this, I think, while Chun-Li just hammers away at WizK. If they manage to pull this off with a totally out of mana Paladin, it would be impressive. Combustion actually forces Chun-Li to run away. If WizK gets in line of sight here, he's got a lot of damage. He just can't sneak around the corner. Chun-Li's going to line of sight him. We're almost at 50% dampening here. Absturge sits down for a drink. Gets stunned up, though. WizK's in trouble. Pops that Blazing Barrier. Still quite a hefty absorb at almost 50% dampening, and they're just cutting through him like butter. Absterge gets the sacrifice right between the crowd control chain. Clutch play from Absterge. You can tell the Golden Guardians don't want to move down to match point. They don't want to be down 2 in the series and have to do this more than they have to. They're going to be battling their hearts out in this 2v2, but they're at such a deficit at this point. WizKid gets knocked out of line. Chun-Li is just laying down the law right now. Absterge bombing in Holy Lights despite having no mana at this point, trying to work with what little resources he has. And I mean, at this point, can WizKid really do too much? Interrupted on Poly. He's got Ice Block up again. Gurecki's likely to go for a res, though, in this position. We see Absterge and Paralyze. Gurecki moving into midfield, just laying out some judgments, trying to maximize his damage. And, I mean, Golden Guardians are stalling, but that's pretty much all they can do. Zwen is out. This has to be an Ice Block. There's no way you're holding an Ice Block against Zwen at 54% dampening. Now they swap over to Absterge. Is Avenging Wrath going to be enough to deal with Chun-Li? What a menace right now. Absterge on the run, trying to top himself and WizKid at the same time in the face of 55% dampening and the 2v2 legend Chun-Li. I don't think it's happening. Chun-Li tigers left side of the Nova, cracks through the altar time, Touch of Death connects, and Spacestation Gaming move to match point in a cross kill.
I can't believe it, honestly. What an insane back-and-forth game that was. Spacestation Gaming coming out ahead, getting the cross kill, winning the 2v2, and claiming the second game in this series. But once again, Golden Guardians, they did not make that easy, bringing in the Kyrian Rogue Mage Paladin, big burst opportunities. And I feel like people, they're not really expecting. I mean, normally, if you're playing a game on live on the ladder, that Rep Paladin would have died like 3 times. But the fact that he has a cheat death every 45 seconds with this legendary seems really powerful, and he's able to hold on and survive. Really, really smart, intelligent play there by Thugonomics, especially against a burst composition like Rogue Mage. It ends up paying dividends, keeps him in the game, and they're able to get that cross kill and pull out a victory.
Absolutely. You can really tell at the end there as well how much Golden Guardians really wanted to stay in this. And here's the replay from those final moments.
So here they get the sheep, they get the Radiant Spark, they force everything, they get the kidney, there's the sheep shot onto Chun with the Hammer of Justice, and then Peekaboo just gets erased there in the backline. Absterge had no cooldowns left, and unfortunately there for the Golden Guardians, they tried so hard and they got so far, but in the end, it didn't really matter there. There was no seed as well for Peekaboo. He was Night Fae. I saw him use the soul shape, so I don't know how the Night Fae is for Rogue, but Dreamweaver definitely king there in terms of soulbinds, at least for the mage. But that seed, actually, if they did have it, might have been enough there to win that game. So definitely a super, super close match, and that's the Rogue Mage Pally. I love that they actually have been practicing this, and it didn't look too bad at all.
Yeah, definitely. I hope to see them played in game number 3 here. They are on match point though, so do we feel like if they opted to play this composition again on the side of Golden Guardians that it would be a little bit risky here, Venruki, or what would you like to see them do?
I feel like this looked a lot better. It looked certainly better than game number 1. So if I had 2 options between the Windwalker Shadow Priest and the Rogue Mage, I feel like Rogue Mage every single time. But Golden Guardians, maybe they have a different answer. I'm not exactly sure. I think Spacestation Gaming right now with the Windwalker Rep Paladin, Holy Paladin, they have a really solid composition. Golden Guardians are going to have to figure it out. It was such a close game. I mean, when it comes down to a 2v2 like that, there were so many close calls on Thugonomics. I feel like Golden Guardians, if I was them, I would lock in the Rogue Mage once again. I'd go to either Ashamains or Empyrean Domain and try to just do the same thing. Then just do it a little bit better, a little bit cleaner, and try to pull out a win.
Yeah, and even if they don't decide to lock it in this next game, there are a lot more cups left in their season, and I think that's something that I think we would all love to see there. That was a super fun game to witness. Golden Guardians put up an insane fight, and like you guys already mentioned, Spacestation Gaming almost going down there a few times here. So Golden Guardians, as they did just lose that last game, now are going to be picking their composition here, and I think it's safe to say that if they pick another big map, what do you think, Zico? Can we say that they're going to lock in that same composition?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if Space Station Gaming are going to blind lock the same thing, though. I feel like they have some better options that can deal with the Shadow Priest Rogue and that can deal with the Rogue Mage now that Golden Guardians kind of revealed it. So we'll see what Space Station Gaming decides to do here, but for sure, we're kind of expecting an Ashamains or an Empyrean Domain, like Venruki mentioned. And then, if we see the Red get blind locked like that for Thug, we can expect that Rogue Mage Paladin to come in again, and that should be exciting if that does happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like that could be really good for their future too as well if they can lock down this composition that we're seeing now from Golden Guardians here. But I mean, two very, very strong contenders like we already mentioned. You know, this is such an important match for these guys, especially early on in these cups. They all want to make it to that circuit though. Did we see anything from that last game? You guys were talking about a little bit about the gear. I mean, you know, we had those red paladins using that prot paladin legendary, but was there anything else special to note that they were maybe doing with their composition in terms of gear that they did in that last one, or that maybe you'd like to see them do in that next one, Ben? The next game.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy with how. I mean, it makes sense for the side of Space Station Gaming. They want to play a little bit more defense. They need to survive the all-ins, and as long as they're surviving those all-ins, they're probably going to win the game. They just have to continuously survive combustion. If they can manage to do that, they'll end up pulling out ahead. But Golden Guardians, they need that extra offense. I don't personally mind the Kieran. I feel like it adds a big oomph to their goes, especially those combustion goes. If you can get it off, it's going to really empower that final pyroblast, that final meteor. You know, when it stacks to 3-4 charges, big damage increase. But, you know, like Zico said in the 2v2, if he had the pod tender, maybe he would have been able to actually hold on a little bit longer. Even if he did, I still am pretty convinced that they would have ended up losing. But
Yeah.
No, I meant if Peekaboo had it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if Peekaboo had it, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we are going to Ashmane's Fall, and we are going to see the same matchup. So kind of as we predicted. I actually want to know exactly what this legendary does. Do you know?
The Prot Paladin one?
Yeah, the Prot Paladin legendary. I read the tooltip, but I'm still not 100% clear.
It's just a wall, so it's like a fort brew.
It's like 50% damage reduction. Do you get health too?
I think it's less than 50. I don't think you get health. It's not a huge amount of damage reduction, but it's just enough that you live to the stun, so you can Word of Glory back to full. It just needs to be enough that you don't die in the stun and you're full HP.
So it's not a full cheat death. What it is when you drop below 20% health, you get like a 40% wall or something. Well,
I think along
probably
those lines,
find
yeah.
the exact numbers, but
Here.
still seems really strong. It's keeping him alive.
There's one thing I want to see from WizK to change, and I know this is a little controversial these days, but
It's 50%. That's pretty substantial.
Okay.
And what is crazy is that it's typically a 5-minute cooldown for Prop Paladin, so you get it every 45. You're getting the equivalent of a 5-minute every 45. That's pretty good.
Seems good, yeah.
All right, Zico, what did you want to see?
I was going to say, there's one thing I want to see change from WizK, and I know it's a little controversial, but I want to see WizK go Greater Pyroblast. This is a matchup where they have no range kicks, and sometimes in this matchup, you sheep the rat, and the Holy Paladin just runs away and starts lining because he doesn't want to get cross CC'd with the rat and a sheep. That is a perfect time where you actually can cast that Greater Pyroblast. And I feel like Flame Cannon is useless in this matchup, and Klepto is also bad in this matchup. So you have one free talent as the mage, so you may as well go for the Greater Pyroblast. Even if you only get it off like a couple of times, I feel like it heavily outvalues Flame Cannon.
All right, Space Station Gaming versus Golden Guardians. Space Station Gaming, one win away from sending Golden Guardians out of this tournament.
Let's see if they can pull it off here, facing elimination. They're sneaking up on Space Station Gaming. Sap on Gorecki, cheap shot on Chun, starting the fight actually on Chun-Li, mixing it up, looking for instant eradication, and they will net a kill
then.
immediately. Golden Guardians showing what's up. WizK with that combustion popping off in game 3.
I could just hear Peekaboo right now saying, "Okay, we'll just do that every time."
Seems good. Seems good. Seems good.
Yep.
Do it again.
Queue up. Queue up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, all right. Well, Golden Guardians about to turn this around. Are we going to see our third reverse sweep of the day? That was a super quick game. Another one of those ones where I look away for just a couple seconds and boom, I look back, someone is dead. Golden Guardians, they are a team that likes to ramp it up here, and it looks like they may be starting to do that, Zico.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, if you looked at the previous game as well, it was so close that they just deleted Doug in the opener, and Whiskey actually didn't even use his meteor here because they were all stacked up. The only difference is really the target this time around. They were like, well, this guy doesn't have the pro legendary, so let's see what happens here. They get the sheep shot, they get the sap, and yep, that looked pretty good. Let's do that again.
Wait, do Windwalkers have a Brewmaster legendary?
I
If
mean,
they
there
do,
might
maybe
be.
Chun
I
should
haven't
use
looked,
it.
honestly. I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. But Chun-Li, you can see we're seeing it for the second time. That was a quick KO. I think we're going to watch it for a third time in a row. All right.
Poor Chun.
Let's do it.
Poor
Ooh, may as
Chun.
well go. This is such a BM, man. Poor Chun-Li.
Chun's just trying to
the
live his
We
radiant
love you,
life.
spark,
Chun.
Chun's just trying to live his life. Yeah, just line the pyro.
Yeah, what did you say yesterday, Zico? Just line forehead.
Just line it.
Could you line that?
I don't know.
It's the radiant spark though that actually. So Whiskey actually casts it out of stealth, and then it gives him kind of a extra fat pyro there because you can stack it up twice as well with the fire blasts, and then get the big hit on your pyro. So that's what Whiskey did there. Yeah, looks good.
All right. Spacestation Gaming 2-1 against Golden Guardians here in this best of 5 series. Loser eliminated from the tournament here. Now Spacestation Gaming a little bit on the back foot here. Their first time in this series to pick the map choice. Looks like they're going to be going with Ruins of Lordaeron, a favorite for Supatees here. Golden Guardians halfway through their timer here to pick their composition. How likely is it, guys, that we're going to see that Rogue Mage come out once again?
Well, I'll tell you, here's a big problem, okay? So, Golden Guardians, let's say they lock in the same comp. They're feeling good about their win. They just took down Chun-Li, Rogue Mage Paladin. Here we go. Space Station Gaming, they're tagging out Chun-Li. And I think Smexon's going to be coming off the bench on that Arms Warrior, and he's going to be feeling pretty good with that Rep Paladin. You could even see Gorecki get onto the Shaman. So if we see Gorecki on the Shaman, Smexon on the Arms Warrior, and Thugonomics on the Rep Paladin, I feel like Golden Guardians, that's probably the hardest matchup, one of the hardest matchups I think that they could play into. So Space Station Gaming has a solid answer. That means Golden Guardians, I don't know if they know that situation, but they might end up locking in something else besides the Rogue Mage.
Yeah, we've talked numerous times about the strengths of that Holy Paladin. It's pretty much the most common one that we've seen so far in this this first cup for Shadowlands. If Gorecki decides to switch to that Restoration Shaman Supatees, what are the benefits of that? What are those differences, and what are they hoping to gain by choosing to go with that Shaman?
Well, Shamans bring Hex, which is a curse crowd control that lasts 8 seconds. WizK is a mage that can remove curse, but nobody else on his team can. So he's just going to sit every Hex for 8 seconds. He's going to have to deal with Grounding Totem, redirecting spells to a totem rather than a player. He's going to have to deal with Wind Shear, interrupting his casts. He's going to have to deal with his Combustion getting purged. He's going to have to deal with the Warrior Overwatch Spell Reflect. Likely Smexon will run the Legendary, which also lets him use Spell Reflect on an ally as well. So there's about like 6 or 7 things that are just going to make WizK's life a living hell, and he has to deal with it. And if he hasn't practiced against it, it is kind of an overwhelming amount of stops. You can get through it because you can Fire Blast. They're not doing it, not bringing the Shaman. They are bringing in Smexon. I think that was expected, but I'm a bit surprised to not see the Shaman, having seen how successful Ret Warrior was in Europe with Shaman specifically. I think that Gorecki could be a liability. I'm curious to see if he does put on the Prop Paladin Legendary, because I feel like he should be the main kill target for Rogue Mage Paladin in this matchup. It's a risky gamble on Runes of Lordaeron.
All right, then if Space Station Gaming then is going to be going super hard after WizK on his Fire Mage, and like Zico was mentioned earlier, maybe he's not feeling 100% comfortable yet, but he is still looking super solid. What can his team do to try and mitigate that pressure coming from Space Station Gaming onto WizK, Zico?
It's all about doing goes. The whole game needs to be a go. If you ever let the enemy team move their characters, your mage is going to get blasted. Somebody's getting blasted. So you can't let them play the game. That is the number one rule of mage rogue into most melee cleaves. You got a Kidney Gorecki on CD, get the poly, get the long CC chain, go after, in my opinion, Smexon is the best target because, well, Doug is the best target. Doug is the easiest target to kill, but Doug is also the hardest target to get a clean setup on because every time you're going to go after Thug, Smexon is going to be there with his intervene. If he gets it off, the go is over. If he gets a banner, the go is over. If he gets a fear, the go is over. So what do? You polymorph Smexon, you get the dispel out of the way, you polymorph Thug, there's no dispel, and now you have plenty of time to push in for the Hammer of Justice on Gorecki and set up a setup onto Smexon. And that way you can kind of just keep doing these goes all the time between Smexon and Thug, but with Smexon as the main target. With that said though, I feel like right now to beat most warrior teams, especially if the warrior is, like a Smexon caliber warrior, yeah,
Man.
it's gonna be hard.
Graphics
that
beat
lower
me into
third.
the punch.
Why are they stealing my
Sweet
line?
They're stealing your line. My goodness. All right. Space Station Gaming match point up against Golden Guardians here. Supatees, I'm going to throw it to you for this map.
What is that sludge backpack that WizK has?
That's cool, huh?
I've never seen that.
There's
There's no way. He's Kyrian.
No, but I think they have access to all the transmogs, so that I think they might get. Is that Necrolord?
Is that a
be.
Necrolord mog? I didn't even know that was a Necrolord mog.
It looks cool if it is.
I'm just distracting you from the line, by the way.
I don't know what line you're talking about, but I mean,
Whose line is it anyway?
It's your line.
This is a good start. Gorecki in the back of the room. They're opening up right onto the healer. Will he be able to survive and make this a fitting final resting place as it's a cemetery? It's already cost him his divine shield right off the bat. That's not a good start for Space Station Gaming.
Certainly not. I mean, this is kind of a nightmare situation. That was beautiful crowd control coming in from the Golden Guardians, but how repeatable is that right now? We'll have to see. Gorecki now into a polymorph. They're going after Specs in just a little bit. Intimidating Shout does come in to disrupt for now. Peekaboo seems to be the main target for Thugonomics and Smexon, taking a huge hit of damage, immediately using that Gladiator's Medallion in order to survive. WizK getting interrupted, and this is the wings of Thugonomics, so the scariest moment in the match, but they're making a big swap onto Gorecki. He gets the Radiant Spark. He's getting low. Blessing of Protection comes in as well, and Gorecki does manage to survive. Beautiful setups. That was a smoke bomb from Peekaboo. They're getting lots of cooldowns out of the way, but Gorecki still has his Gladiator's Medallion. He has a shield coming up as well, so he's going to be able to protect himself from that next swap.
Yeah, and Absterch here needs to be quick on that next setup. Here we go. Let's go. We get a nice bubble there on Thug, and that is a beautiful double blinding light sheep onto Smexon, and now the game is wide open. Gorecki has his trinket still, though, but they do have the blind to trade for it. Absterch now getting swapped to and getting chopped up by Smexon. Peekaboo looking for the blind here, potentially onto Gorecki. They want to set up maybe onto Thug with that and try to force out the divine shield or the trinket of Gorecki. No, they're actually going to go after Gorecki here with the setup. Kidney Shot gets secured, Smexon trinkets, and that should be the end of the setup if Smexon just uses his disarm right there and his intervene, and he will shut that down. Gorecki's still going to hold on to his trinket as well for that next go. Thug has one Blessing of Protection to work with. Honestly, Thug is the best target right now. If they go after Thug with a blind on the healer, they get Gorecki's trinket out of that, and then they got themselves in a checkmate situation here. Golden Guardians are actually looking very, very real right now in winning this game despite the warrior.
All right, let's see if they can keep getting these setups. Here it comes. Peekaboo moves in. The Warrior's blinded. No, Gorecki intercepts him. Absurge dispels. Shadow step over the kidney shot. Gorecki breaks out, trying to get back to line of sight from that sanctuary of Thugonomics. Will it be enough? Crushing a big heal with that divine toll. Gorecki survives the attack that should have been his life. Clutch blinding light, but maybe it's not enough. He's just getting owned by WizK right now. WizK popping off again with this combustion, but Peekaboo on the back foot. Absurge trades sacrifice, trying to keep Peekaboo afloat and keep him going onto Gorecki, but if he line of sights on his tombstone, it's easily going to be lights out. He's waiting. He wants to go for that triple stun lock. Will they be able to disrupt it? Potentially a war banner available for Smexon. We have to wait and see if he's able to stop this next attempt. They are certainly slapping Peekaboo at the moment, keeping him below half. Double blinding light, triple crowd control. This could be it for Gorecki. Why is he holding on to the medallion? Such a greedy move, but he does get away with it. The rallying cry stabilizing from Smexon. Gorecki, cool but calculated, holds on to precious cooldowns.
Yeah, he's playing this really well in terms of his positioning and rotating through his defensive cooldowns. Hammer of Justice now on Peekaboo. Stormbolt onto Absurge. Peekaboo's on the run. He does have the evasion and Cloak of Shadows if he needs it. So Golden Guardian should be able to hold on. Mana not in favor of the Golden Guardian. So Space Station Gaming has a commanding lead in that regard. WizK now going for a Ring of Frost. Can he land it? They're going after Thugonomics. Radiant Spark gets cast out. Big Meteor going to crash onto Thugonomics. Can he hold on a little bit longer? One more Polymorph does sneak in onto Gorecki. WizK getting out great control in this game, but I think Thugonomics is going to be able to hold on. Peekaboo still under assault in this matchup, going for a shadowy dual re-stealth. WizK has that combustion rolling up, so this next attempt is going to be really scary here for Thugonomics.
Ooh, WizK actually having to trinket there out of the alter time. Smexen doing a great job right now, applying the pressure. I don't think WizK has a blink right now. Peekaboo gonna be there stunning up Thugs. He's gonna stun up Smexen there as well, but he does get disarmed before he can stun Smexen. Now finally the kidney comes in. Sheep onto Gorecki. Big damage on the Thug. Blessing of Protection comes through the smoke bomb, but Thug is going to proc his proc legendary, get 50% damage reduction. One big juicy word of glory, and he's gonna be nice and healthy there. And now it's Peekaboo on the back foot. Smexen, as soon as he comes out of that sheep, he's going to be doing massive damage with the avatar. He does a blade storm as well now, running big damage here, cleaving WizK and Peekaboo. Peekaboo now going for a sheep shot onto Gorecki. Smexen, what are you going to do to stop it? There we go with the intervene. Going to be shutting down that setup. Thug actually could be the target here to get the full sheep, but Thug now off stun the art should be able to heal himself up, and he does have an intervene icon right now as well, so Thug is going to be completely safe. And this is just the power of the warrior against these setup comps. When you have somebody as good as Smexen able to pre-blade storm like that on the go and then shut everybody down with the intervene and the disarms, it is so difficult for the Rogue Range to do anything. And they were in that checkmate position, but now all of a sudden Thug has his bubble, Gorecki has his bubble, and the game is slowly but surely spiraling out of control. They're finally going after Smexen here, and that's going to be the sacrifice with the bubble from Gorecki. I really like that they're going after Smexen. That is the best target.
They overlap Die by the Sword. A combustion comes up, but Peekaboo's in trouble. They just need to survive. I feel like Smexen is really vulnerable at the moment here moving forward with WizK. If he gets a good combustion off, I don't know how Smexen is going to survive, especially if they can combo it with a Radiant Spark here. Polymorphs on Thugonomics, Absurge bombing in heals, trying to recover, get his team stable for the push, but Thugonomics is a threat at the moment with Avenging Wrath rolling. Peekaboo needs to run. He's retreating with that Blessing of Freedom. Thugonomics trying to keep up with him, having a tough time keeping up with the Rogue. He's going to switch back to WizK, doesn't want to overextend. Peekaboo is going to re-stealth. Let's see if they can get this set up. They got 10 seconds to get this set up. If they do it cleanly, Smexen will be eradicated. 9 seconds to go, but the War Banner hits the setup across the whole team. Triple value War Banner shuts down the game-winning setup. Now Space Station Gaming look to counter assault. Peekaboo pre-feints the stun. Will it be enough though? 5 seconds away from Divine Shield on Absturge, 2 seconds away. That's a lot of damage. Dampening at 11%, Cloak Evasion on 10%, barely surviving and holding on for another opportunity, but medallions are available for the side of Space Station Gaming. That window is getting closed for the Golden Guardians.
Yeah, WizK under fire right now. Thugonomics gets caught into a cheap shot. They're going for it once again. Golden Guardians trying to close it out on Smexen. He's getting low. Die by the sword, as well as that rallying cry should be more than enough for him to survive. Thugonomics actually traded out his trinket to back Smexen up just a little bit there. If you look at mana, Absurge is almost completely tapped. 14% dampening right now. Space Station Gaming, they just have to hold on a little bit longer. 14 seconds left on that sacrifice. Gorecki's going to be feeling really good to keep his team alive. Is he going to trinket out of the blind, though? 3 versus 1 setup once again. Trinket, Blessing of Protection on Smexen so he can keep on fighting. Trying to put down Peekaboo, who did use his trinket in that exchange. Very back and forth game, but Smexen still in some trouble. Smoke Bomb drops down. Smexen on the run. Peekaboo and WizK all over him at this point in the game. Peekaboo does not want to overextend, potentially now looking for a re-stealth as WizK gets a nice Dragon's Breath on all 3 members of Space Station Gaming. But out of that crowd control, they continue to make the charge. Absurge mana not looking good. Double Hammer of Justice. 1 on Absurge, 1 on Peekaboo. Do they have the damage to take him down? It is so close. Bubble sacrifice coming in from Absurge, and that will keep Peekaboo alive.
And now they're in a checkmate position. Golden Guardians, they just need to land one clean setup. No trinkets, no bubble, no breakers. And here we go. Kidney on Smexen, Sheep Shot on Thug, Sheep on Gorecki. This could be it. Big damage. Do they have enough, though, is the question. Thug comes through there with the Word of Glory, saving Smexen there in the nick of time. The War Banner as well on the re-CC there is the only thing keeping Smexen alive there. They have another window for 30 seconds here where they could close out the match, but Peekaboo needs to run for his life right now. Absturge has nothing for him. him. He's using the Night's Blade Blinks, trying to kite around. Absterge is with him behind the pillar, manages to recover him, and now they have 20 seconds to end the game, or the Space Station Gaming shortly walks away with this one. Peekaboo gets Bladestoned out of stealth. Smexin now finally getting sheep shot into the ring on Thug, and Whiskey needs to Dragon's Breath Smexin right there, otherwise he's going to stop the setup. Gorecki excellently positions, gets around the corner, dispels Thug, and now they have to go after Gorecki. Smexin needs to peel this onto Gorecki, or it's going to be the game. He gets to intervene. Gorecki survives, and now Peekaboo is scared for his life, Sid.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically got nothing. He's stunned up. Smexin and Thugonomics chopping away. Divine Toll combo. Execute range potentially. Peekaboo barely ducking and dodging, bobbing and weaving to stay alive at that moment in time, but his healer has absolutely no mana. They need a miracle play. They need the move play if they're going to pull this one off. They're going after Smexin in defiance. Smexin denies kill after kill. That was the blind. That was the poly. They don't net enough damage. There's basically no defense left. Peekaboo's in stealth, hiding, waiting, biding time, hoping that Absterge regenerates some mana, but now Whiskey is getting chopped up. Gorecki repositioning here with his team. Peekaboo sneaking in. Who are they going to go after? No trinket on Smexin. No smoke bomb, though. No combustion. Whiskey can't stand still and cast Fireball. He's under too much pressure. He is absolutely under fire at the moment. Cauterize available. They ring Thug. They stun Smexin. They stun Gorecki. They poly Gorecki. Beautiful setup here by the Golden Guardians, but Gorecki blocks it with the Medallion Sacrifice. They're working with nothing. They're working with shreds at this point to pull off a victory. Can they manage to do it? Absterge pre-sacrificing crowd control here. Excellent play from Absterge. Whiskey gets his combustion up in one more fireball, one more opportunity, one more shot. They cannot afford to miss it at this point. Smoke bomb coming up in 8 seconds. Smexin pre-banners the incoming assault, but a bop on Whiskey, denying a lot of the damage at the moment. Actually, Thugonomics still just cutting through the Blessing of Protection. He's looking for that cauterize. Tons of holy damage. Whiskey blinks back. I can't believe that the Golden Guardians are still alive at this point. Gorecki sitting through a sap. How do they pull this off? Whiskey has to land the hugest combustion right now if he wants to take this.
He still has a cauterize. I mean, this is an elimination series. Golden Guardians, they have to win this game if they want to stay in the tournament. And we're at 37% dampening. Absterge has nothing left, but they have the cooldowns to potentially take someone down. A huge combustion onto Smexin, but he's holding on with the die by the sword. And now Space Station Gaming is looking to reverse it onto Peekaboo, onto Whiz-K, but Smexin's still not out of it yet. Gorecki using the Divine Favor, the Divine Shield, to keep Smexin alive. And that will be enough. Peekaboo now at 30% health, still just dancing around with death. Absterge trying to keep him alive, but he's just got no tools left. At the same time, Smexin is getting so low. The commanding shout comes in. Golden Guardians is not letting Space Station Gaming take them down. It is such a close match. Smexin, there's no healing left. Can they take him down? Smexin could fall. Peekaboo could fall. Peekaboo's in execute range. He uses the shadowy duel. He's running for his life. At the same time, Whiz-K's in so much trouble. He still has the cauterize. How are they still alive?
He's drinking.
I'm not sure, but this is pretty much over here. Whiskey cauterize triggers, no ice block for 20 seconds. Absterge gets a big Divine Favor. One final attempt here, potentially for the Golden Guardians. They do have a kill opportunity. They just need to get Gorecki to trinket something here, and they could be winning the game here. Whiskey, double Dragon's Breath, stun onto Absterge. Whiskey's playing on borrowed time right now. Triune Barrier comes out. There's the freedom on the Nova. Whiskey getting freedom back here, and Peekaboo in stealth, waiting to launch the next go. Smexin, how are you going to respond? Full sheep comes through. Thug in a sheep shot. Radiant Spark. Smexin is the target here. Gorecki needs to trinket. Sacrifice comes out, saving Smexin once again in the nick of time. And that is the final defense. And now Peekaboo does have his trinket as well for this next setup. Absterge trinketing for him, actually, keeping him alive. And somehow, some way, the Golden Guardians stay alive and put themselves in yet another checkmate situation. And this time, they have combustion. If Smexin doesn't pre-barrier, pre-Bladestorm or something, or just outright kill Whiskey right now, this game could be over, Sid.
All right, let's see if the move can keep this going here. The Golden Guardians on match point. Another War Banner. They kill the War Banner. They intervene, trying to catch a Polymorph, but Whiskey's so low on health, he doesn't have Cauterize. They need to trade. Ice Block barely going off. Where's the Shattering Throw? Smexin not committing it. Swapping to Absterge for a moment here. Absterge should be okay. Maybe not. Avenging Wrath just ended. They're desperate, but a triple Blinding Light by Absterge. They need a setup off of this. There's the combustion. Whiskey needs to pop off with a ton of damage. Where is it? Where is the damage? It's nowhere to be found. Smexin pops the die by the sword. He's got that rally. He's going for the Avatar. Smexon has had enough fooling around, enough playing around. They need to push and make some value out of this. Neither team has anything left in the tank here in terms of cooldowns. How is this game still going on? 53% dampening. Thugonomics Polymorph. WizKid just doing everything that he can to stall. A full blind. Smexon in trouble. How are they actually going to pull off the move miracle here? 2 seconds left on the blind. 1 second left on the blind. Thugonomics pops wings. He needs a big heal, but Thugonomics is going for damage instead, trying to clutch it out here. Everybody on the Golden Guardians is getting cut to pieces, but Smexon is still critically low. They drop a smoke bomb in desperation to try and protect WizKid and Absturge. What on earth is happening?
This is insane, WizKid! Can he live a little longer? Sacrifice comes out, but Absurge forced to use the Divine Shield as well. Smexon's still low. They could take him down. Do they have the healing? Thugonomics and Gorecki, they need to help him. Smexon's getting low. He could fall. They might do it. Can he actually do it? I mean, Smexon, he's looking a little bit more stable at this point. Divine Favor comes in. WizKid, no Ice Block, no Cauterize. Piku is still all over Smexon. Peekaboo just really carrying right now, trying to get that damage out. Warbanner drops again, intimidating shout on Peekaboo. They want to take WizKid down, but he won't die. Sacrifice now onto Smexon. The last cooldown Gorecki really does have available, and it looks like WizKid will potentially fall. Blessing of Protection. It's just the cooldown rotation from Golden Guardians has been absolutely beautiful. They're going for another setup. Can they take Smexon down? It's getting close. Pre-die by the sword, and WizKid still just barely holding on. There's no tools left for Absurge. 62% dampening. WizKid falls. Peekaboo likely to fall shortly after. And what an insane game that was. I mean, it went to 63% dampening, but that could have easily closed out 40% dampening, 50% dampening earlier.
Man, I am really at a loss for words. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that game, there was so many preemptive plays to just make sure that game kept going. That game, like you said, it could have ended much, much sooner, but, insane plays from both sides. Smexon stopping the Ghost, with the preemptive barriers and things like that. And at the same time as well, Peekaboo, preemptive duels. WizKid doing a great job running and getting control out. Just both teams really playing their hearts out. And what a fantastic series this has been.